Tell them about the day that we've had.
Okay. Who wants to start?
You already talking?
I'm already talking.
Go ahead.
Today, who was amazing
Yay.
and sleepy. And look, I got some parts of that you got to tell if you want to tell. But we woke up this morning to get ready for a day of makeup,
Yes,
photo shoot, a little bit of record after last night doing a Facebook live, in which we had the most technical difficulties I think we've ever had since we started doing this thing in this 1.5 seasons that we are in. So that was that. Most of us have only ate once or twice a day, which is fine. Yeah, we've had a long day. We're tired from last night to now. It seemed like one big blur of day, but it's all good.
Then on top of that, last night, Lord Sweet's car got towed after the podcast, so we had, went through a little rigmarole with that, and finally got her car back today. But we still, even with having a long day, we still wanted to, do something around the table together, because every time you guys see us, we're always in those little squares on Zoom. So we wanted to be all together in the same room, having a conversation. Well, it's going to be a brief one today because we tired. But anyway, and in front of our mics, because I know you guys wonder, every time you see the podcast, I'm the only one with the mic, but you can see the two empty mics in the background. Well, that's because when the podcast started, COVID happened. So they were supposed to come down here. We were going to film like this around the table, but COVID had other plans. So I've had the mics all this time. So I've been able to use my mic, but they haven't been able to use theirs. So after today, they're going to be able to have their mics, take them home, and you guys will see them with theirs. So I just wanted to point that out, because I know some of y'all was like, wow, they got to be all extra. But everybody else, that's not the case, okay?
Demo.
So I just wanted to let you know that tidbit.
Hallelujah.
So, the topic of discussion today at the Black Table Talk is the Red Table Talk. The topic is about the Red Table Talk. This is something that we have all been exposed to. If you have the internet and you know anything and live on this earth, then you all know about the Smiths.
Yes, Lord.
In the current or past or whatever the situation,
right?
The entanglement, as it has been now deemed, i.e., the affair.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to talk about for about a little time.
Yeah, and just to give you a disclaimer, this isn't going to be a full-fledged episode. We're calling these, what do we call these?
Like outtakes, because really
Outtakes,
normally we talking after we've done our work or after we had our day and after we had our podcast, we still be having interesting conversations that the people may want to see.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So what do y'all think about the word entanglement being used?
Let me tell you something. When I think of entanglement, that's when something done knotted and my chain done got knotted and I can't unentangle it. that ain't the same thing. I'll call, but shout out to Jada there. She got creative with it. The word entanglement, it really does not fit for what was really going on, but I think it's creative.
What?
She wasn't entangled. She was still married to her husband.
Yes, and entangled up in a chain with somebody else.
else.
I guess I'm saying that because when my chain get tangled up in my jewelry box, it wasn't intentional by me. So I do like unintentional act versus intentional. But you're right. She was entangled. She was entangled.
Her vocabulary in a different way.
Yes, she used her vocabulary in a different way. And look, so y'all know the one part I want to talk about is what other people are talking about in this whole thing, because when we're getting our makeup done, shout out to Hannah Shalom. Hallelujah, got us looking all beautiful and divified this evening. But talking about people talking about the long marriage of the Smiths and saying that basically entanglement, aka affairs or extra relationships, is what is needed to keep a long relationship. And I said, the devil is an ugly lie. Let me tell you something. I told Hannah, I said, look, I got left one entanglement. They got entangled together, and I was sitting right here loosed. You know, I'm like, oh, no. That does not keep no marriage together. Doing things outside of the marriage. I'm sorry, you cannot have two masters because you're gonna love one and hate the other, serve one and neglect the other. You sure, in my opinion, can't have no two relationships. Somebody gonna get left out. That's why poor August feel left out because I left, and she right there with Will. Praise God.
Well, she did say that this is something that happened some time ago, so
I
think it's all being exposed. But I think the truth of the matter, since this is truth revealed, is that in reference to what everything is, because I'm hearing different perspectives, nothing that's been confirmed about open marriages and things of that nature. And I don't know, because none of us know. We don't know. Everything is speculative outside of what Will and Jada disclosed or were willing to disclose to, the world yesterday. But I will say the truth is I don't feel that you have to have extramarital affairs to have a long-lasting relationship. I think that's a misnomer that has been infiltrated in by culture, and a lot of times probably by people who've seen those type of relationships exist with extramarital affairs, or don't even feel or believe in the sanctity of marriage anyway.
Right.
So I think when you hear those type of things coming from people, you have to look at the experiences that the people have had. I have seen 50 plus, 40 plus year marriages in my family where I think that didn't take place. Was it hard? Yeah. But I don't think that just because someone is married for X period of time means that they're going to automatically cheat. Or that they have to cheat to keep the marriage continuing on.
Right. I'm like, who told you that?
I think too, some people think because when they see people like Jada and Will or Beyonce and her husband, it's like, well, dang, if they can be cheated on, it's a lost cause. You know what I'm saying? So I think that assumption comes into play because when people who seemingly have it all, it's still not enough.
Right.
So, and I think when people see stuff like that, they start making those judgments, because I know that was basically in response to, what they were talking about when she, said it was an entanglement. And so it was almost like, not saying, because it seemed like in one part of it, she was like, and I don't feel bad about it or something.
Yeah, she said it's not a transgression. She didn't feel like it was a transgression.
Yeah, right. She didn't feel like it was a transgression. So it's like sometimes when people have platforms and they have that level of influence, when they say certain things, people can take it, just like when she said at one time, meat is bad and people stop eating meat. I think it's the same concept.
Right.
Right. I'm like, open your eyes.
But from a biblical standpoint, because this podcast is definitely undergirded in the truth of God's word. Jada Boo Boo, you wrong. It's a transgression, whether you want to call it that or not. Because the conversation that I was having with someone was, just because you learn from the experience doesn't mean that you have to have the experience to learn from.
It's the truth.
And I think that's awesome that she talks about this self-discovery, and I think it's wisdom to go through anything. And I don't think it's wisdom if you go through something and you don't take anything from it, because I think you're prone to repeat it. But I don't necessarily think that you have to go steal and be locked up and put in jail to know what that feels like. I don't have to empathize or sympathize with you on that level. Some stuff is just right or wrong.
I do see, in a sense, what she was trying to say as far as, how when we go through things and we're like, had I not gone through that, I
Right.
wouldn't be the person that I
Right.
am. So I get that to a sense because she's basically saying our marriage is the better because of what
that.
happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we do have to acknowledge that it was a transgression, and it didn't have to happen.
That's the point.
But now that it has happened, I've learned from it and I've grown from it, So.
Right.
Right, and I think too, it's a self-centeredness about yes, like you had a good point that you don't have to do that to learn from that to be stronger. Just be stronger because there's a third person involved in this. The whole reason why Jada had brought herself to the table was because for whatever reason, whether it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, Brother August is hurt. Brother August is still talking about it, and Brother August got something that he decided now to expose for whatever reason, and it affected him in a very vulnerable state. Because you look at this, and I ain't even trying to demonize Jada or Will, because they live their life. When you pretty much a lot of people live their lives with a measure of what they think is right, and just kind of what they get in their own feelings about what's right, what's wrong. But this young man had so much trauma going on in his life, and he was introduced into their family, and for her to do anything that would be deemed relational, sexual for someone who was had been through sickness, had been dealing with family issues, like it looked like it almost made her look. And somebody said that, I think Hannah mentioned that somebody said it almost made her look predatory. Like, I'm out, me and my husband are on the fritz, and I got this young man here that, is in need of whatever. And I can take advantage of the situation.
But too, maybe it was just because she did mention that part in the interview where she was talking about how she's attracted to wounded people, like almost the woundedness within her was probably attracted to the woundedness.
She has a little savior complex.
Yeah.
That's what it came across as.
Yeah.
So hurt people hurt people.
Yeah. So it might not have been a predatory thing. It may just have been two wounded people trying to give each other comfort.
I think what makes it predatory in nature. And I think the reason why people are assuming that it's predatory or taking a lot of fault with it is because of the fact that this young man she has children around the same age. So there's another level of maturity that she has that he may not have.
And even power and influence, because August Alsina money ain't nothing compared to compared to Jada Pinkett money and Will Smith money and fame. So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, be not entangled.
With
the yoke of bondage. Goodness gracious.
But that's it on that topic. I told y'all we wasn't gonna be long, but we wanted to address it. And again, this is our outtakes, and
and pray for people who we're not married, but we esteem marriage, and
absolutely
pray for marriages.
Yes,
it's hard. It's hard, and it doesn't matter whether it's new marriages, middle-aged marriages, old-age marriages.
Yeah.
I think as people, we're always evolving. And when you're evolving with someone, you have to adjust and recalibrate and do all those things. And so, I will say this, and somebody may shoot me for saying this, but I respect Jada. Whether it was predatory or not is a little suspect. But I respect the fact that that she came to her own red table. Because one of the things that I like about her show is the fact that she brings up topics that are hot topics. I feel like she addresses them with ease and concern, and she brings up topics that aren't very publicized topics and brings awareness to a lot of things. And she seems to be someone who advocates for, self-improvement and self-betterment. So if she had not addressed this, whether it was red tape or through a statement or whatever the case may be, it really would have made me look at her as a little bit hypocritical.
That's true.
So I do appreciate the fact that that she, as you know, although she may have been exposed, that she came and addressed it. Because at the end of the day, these people aren't required to tell us
It's
anything.
true. It's none of our business.
This
to be
is
honest.
this is none of our business.
Right.
And so they share that, and now it has become the topic of many podcasts and radio shows and barbershop and beauty salon conversations.
Yeah,
So.
it's give you something to think about. And like you were saying, praying for marriages. Because, people say, well, relationships take work. Because I feel like sometimes marriage gets like, well, who wants to do it if it's just so hard? Marriage don't have to be hard labor. It's funny. You have so much fun in the dating process. You have so much fun getting to the altar. And it just it seems like a work of the enemy too. As soon as you say I do now, here comes the hard labor and chains and bondage. Marriage is not supposed to be a bondage. It's supposed to be a bond, a willing bond, a willing covenant, and you can have fun and be together and do life with someone. So it doesn't have to be hard, but I understand different challenges that people just ain't equipped to deal with. It's kind of taking people to task now. This whole Rona done did something. Rona got people just acting different and just having to be in different circumstances that bring other things out. But definitely, I go with sweet sentiment. Pray for marriages, and don't give up on yours. If you are y'all didn't start having problems till Rona. Well, that can be worked on, not so fast to the divorce court, because there's stuff that y'all just brush by with working 40, 50, 60 hours a week and having the kids and everything they could possibly in, that y'all just kind of ignored the stuff that you needed to work on for the last 10 years. How about you start working on that and enjoy each other and remember what you fell in love with, and then work on that before you go and file papers. Just some advice.
Okay.
Very, very good. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us for this outtake. I don't even know, we just flowing by the seat of our pants. We usually create a outline, but for these, we just gonna shoot it straight from the hip. So it is. It is what it is. So
this is what it is.
Yep.
Good
Thank
night.
you guys for listening.
Bye.
All right.
Yes.
Bye.